What's poppin', y'all? It's your girl fiance back again with another video. As you can see by the title, it's going to be another Netflix movie review. Today we are going to be talking about Kevin Hart's new movie called Fatherhood. I like this movie. Just to get the ratings out in the beginning, I'll probably give it like an 8 out of 10. It would have been a 10 out of 10, but it really like put me in like a mood for a few days. I think they said this movie was loosely based off of a real life situation or story. Also, as I say in literally every single video, you hear noises in the background, it's probably my kids or my husband, so ignore it, okay? But yes, so they said it was loosely based off of like a real story. And I feel like for a lot of women, especially black women, because that's who was casted and things like that, it hit home for people just like it did for me. If you guys watched several videos down, I gave you a story of how my first labor and delivery story went. It was pretty traumatic. I almost died. It was, you know, so I had to watch this movie in like 3 different sections because there's several parts in here that make you like it makes you feel feelings. I typically don't cry on movies and stuff like that, but I did this time, and it was just too much. It was too much. So it starts off, his wife has to have an emergency C-section. They're about to have their daughter. It's a really exciting time. Everything seems to go well in the surgery or whatever. And then as she's resting and things, they're like, okay, come on, let's get up. Let's try and walk around. This is that and third. And she just collapses. She's like, I'm lightheaded, I'm dizzy or whatever. And then all the doctors and nurses and things like that start rushing in, and they couldn't save her. Her mom runs in there. They like push him out of the room. I was like, I know how, I don't know how it is personally, but I know that when I was going through those things, like my mom was like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? And they're like, ma'am, you need to calm down. You need to calm down, you know, trying to make her calm down when it's really a, So after his wife dies, you see him going through the struggles of having a newborn in the house. Like those days and months and nights and stuff like that are very, very intense. You don't really get any sleep because the baby's trying to learn you, you're trying to learn the baby, you're trying to figure out the dynamic of your house, you know. And I just went through that again, guys. Like it's my baby is now 7 months old. But I went through those things just recently. I mean, he adjusted pretty fast. My kids, they are pretty good about schedules and things like that. So I didn't have to go through it as intensely as they showed him going through in the movie. But it is still very time consuming. It makes you tired. You get sleep deprived. You get like, what do they say you get like once you haven't slept so long? I don't know. You just start to get like manic, I guess. Like, oh my God. Like, maybe that's not the right word. That sounds insane or something. I don't know. Anyways, so, you know, he's just growing his daughter up. And like the whole time I was really, really upset because, his wife's mom was so hard on him. And I do understand that. But I feel like there is a stigma out in the world that moms are the only ones that can take care of kids, and I feel like this movie really proved that dads can too. And it came out around Father's Day because, you know, all women, well, not all women, but like a lot of women, they their kids and stuff, if they're single parents, their kids will be like, yeah, happy Father's Day to my mom. She played both roles and stuff like that. And I really feel like this helped put in perspective, hey, there are dads out there too. And saying things like that can be kind of disrespectful because I've never seen a child who was wholly raised by their father be like, hey, yeah, happy Mother's Day to my dad because he did both roles and stuff like that. But I think this, like I said, showed a really good job that, you know, dads can be just as nurturing, can be just as understanding of their kids. And, you know, she's a little girl. It also showed, you know, just being raised around men and whatever, it had an influence on her life. She was playing poker. She wants to wear boys' underwear. She only wore pants to school and stuff like that. And I feel like that goes for either way. Like, if you're mostly influenced by women and you're a boy, you'll learn how to usually, because there's some men out there who are raised by women who still dog women out and stuff like that, but usually, you know, you'll be more understanding and you'll know how to treat a woman and, you know, stuff like that. I do know, however, that women tend to coddle their boys more, so that's probably why it's less likely that they will understand women. But as far as her, you know, being raised by all men, because his friends were there and stuff like that, and I really feel like that was a good moment too, because a lot of times men aren't really, you don't see or hear about men being like that. I'm sure it's out there, it's just not as common. He had a tribe of friends, just like how moms have like support systems and groups and friends with kids and stuff like that. He had that too with his guy friends, and they really helped and supported him once his wife died. Another part of the movie that made me sad for him was like when he went to the parent support group with all the moms in there who were talking about breastfeeding and stuff like that. Like, she like discriminated against him as a man, and the group was called Parent Support Group. But since it was all women in there and they were talking about breastfeeding and stuff like that, oh, you can't be here, you can't this, that, and the third, you know what I mean? And I really do feel like women are like that. Like, even though we're like, oh, you know, dads, they don't do anything for their kids. When you do find a dad that does something for your kids, and you like try to like oust him from something that is designed for all parents, you know? I liked the fact that he did eventually get that support, though, and it didn't even come from, you know, a traditional sense. Like, certain things that he was doing, I know that a mom wouldn't do, but the job still got done, if that makes sense. And, you know, I salute all dads who are out there, you know, doing it by themselves, because I really do feel like it's easier for women to be the nurturers and the caretakers and stuff of children. And it's sad to say, because, like, you know, it's a stereotype or whatever, but I mean, it is what it is. I know for a fact there's different and more things that I do for my kids that their dad probably wouldn't do or would not do the same. And since they're so accustomed to me, since I'm home with them all day, they're going to gravitate to whatever. Like, when my son is not feeling good or something like that, he'll be, you know, with his dad or at my mom and dad's house or something like that. When he doesn't feel good, he wants to come home. And the first person he wants to see is his mom. You know what I mean? And I feel like them showcasing a dad being that first response person takes a different role on some things. And I think it helped open a lot of people's eyes to be like, hey, it can be done. Overall, like, when he started getting like prepared for that job and stuff like that, like, I don't know, it didn't really say in the movie like whether or not he ended up pursuing the job after he went back and got his daughter once she was at her grandparents' house. So I don't know if maybe he got a different job or something like that. But I do know for a lot of single moms, when looking for jobs, you have to accommodate for everything with your child, and sometimes you can't leave them at their grandparents' house because a lot of grandparents aren't active in their kids' lives and stuff. But, you know, he's lucky that he even had that option. I think him choosing his daughter in that situation was really, you know, how a lot of people respond to things. Like, yeah, I need to do this, but my kid also needs me. I don't want them to ever grow up and feel like, hey, I abandoned them, or hey, I you know, chose work over them. And it's not even that, because, you know, him having that job provides for his child. But a lot of times, quality time and like intimate moments with your kids shape them more than, hey, you know, I helped put food on the table, I kept a roof over your head. So yeah. Also, again, guys, okay, I know this video has been chaotic, and as a parent, okay, as a parent, I worked through that. Did you see me keep talking when all that crying was going on? Yes, that's what you do, okay? And that's what Kevin Hart did in this movie, all right? I also think another thing that helped this movie actually be good is him being a father in real life. I don't think a single person would have captivated, I'm not a single person, but a childless person would have captivated the role as well as someone who has a child and understands, like, hey, you know, I mean, people are like, you know, I don't need kids to understand how to work with kids and all this stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But I know when I was a childless person, I knew how to babysit. I knew how to change diapers. I knew all that stuff. But it's different when you have a child of your own. It's a different mindset. And I know a lot of parents out there will understand what I'm talking about. When they say, you know, you changed. Like, I saw, you know, people getting upset like, oh, your kids, you should want to do better for yourself, not just for your kids and stuff like that. I'm like, that is true. You should want better for yourself. But like, when you look at your kids, you just do. You just want to do better. You know what I mean? But like I said, I give this movie an 8 out of 10 because it made me cry. And I don't like crying. So you get 2 points knocked. Takes off. I can't even talk. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Anyways. But yes, guys, let me know what you think of the movie, if you watched it, if my review helped you want to watch it, because at first I really didn't want to watch it. Not gonna lie, Kevin Hart is not my favorite comedian. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I don't like this man, he's not funny. I'm not gonna be like that, because he's genuinely had some things that I've laughed at. But I thought this movie was going to be like, oh, another one of these Kevin Hart comedy movies and stuff like that. I was not into that. But once I watched the trailer, and I'm sure I had a clip inserted, okay? I'm recording this right now, but I have a clip inserted, and I'm telling myself that. But once you see the trailer and things like that, you're like, oh, okay, you know, it's different than what you assume. But yes, let me know if you guys decide to watch the movie, if my review helped you watch the movie, or if you're like, it doesn't really seem like me. Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys on the next video.